Hello and welcome to Tell Me Where I'm Going. My name is Chris DeLuca. Now, this is a writing podcast for those of you who are new around here. This is an interactive fiction podcast where you, the audience, influence where the narrative goes. And the current story we're telling is the timeless classic about the band The Traveling Wilburys, back in 1988, on an imagined world tour, solving crime. And if you're just jumping in, definitely go back and check out those first episodes, because you're going to hear the whole story. And if you don't know the story, you're not going to know the story. But this episode is kind of a mini episode. It's a little author update, a little something I do to kind of update you on how the writing's going and the results of your audience participation. So that's exactly what's going to happen. Now, we have a very special result this week, and I'm excited about it. Now, let's outline the process here. At the end of the previous story episode, again, this is spoiler alert for those of you who are not caught up, but for those who are, the end of the previous story episode, the Traveling Wilburys had been chased around and ran into various calamities down in the subterranean sunken fairground. And the killer clown was after him. There was a lot going wrong. And then, they got out of the frying pan and into the fire, so to speak. They avoided the clown, but fell deeper into the underworld, I guess, and stumbled across some sort of crazy ritual. One of the participants of which was Eddie Money, who you'll remember as another audience participation addition. And right as we were like, whoa, what's happening there? We cut away. We went we showed someone else. And we actually focused a little bit on the groupies. Remember, the groupies were the fine ladies who approached the Traveling Wilburys with their initial call to action to find and potentially save one of their members who had been attacked by the killer clown. And they were in a totally different area, and they kind of fell down. There was a big collapse, cave-in, and they fell down into that into the sunken areas, and they found themselves with both Jeff Lynne and Bob Dylan, but not the actual Jeff Lynne and Bob Dylan. It was the Mirror Maze pretender versions of Jeff Lynne and Bob Dylan from their country phase. And if none of this makes sense, you gotta listen to the previous episodes. And if you already did and it still doesn't make sense, DM me. We'll straighten it out. All right. So that's the pickle we left our various crews in. And that's kind of where I ran out of ideas. I was trying to figure out where the groupies actually were. Like, they fell down into a sunken area, but I didn't know where it was. That was really pivotal to the story and what was going to happen next. So I put it to you, the audience. I asked you on Twitter, UTMWig, YOUTMWig on Twitter. You sent me great suggestions. I put them in a poll, and you, the audience, voted on them, and we have a result. And this is what's so exciting. So what happened? I got 3 suggestions. The first, this is where the girls were, where they fell into. The first suggestion was that they were in a cave with prehistoric art on the walls. Okay, so that's one mood, that's one motif, that's one way the story could go. I don't know where it would go, but that evokes a direction, Ice Age, maybe? I don't know. Okay, the second suggestion I got was Martin Scorsese's basement. And Marty Scorsese had been mentioned in the previous episode. He'd been hounding around for another music doc. Kind of a little tidbit there for anyone who missed that. So that's a whole different direction that we'd be expanding more and focusing on whatever Martin Scorsese's bringing to the table. And the final suggestion was about but they would land in the ghost of Studio 54. And that's a whole other direction. The legendary celebrity party place, Studio 54, but the ghost of it. Because by 1988, I'm pretty sure Studio 54 was over. So it's like some supernatural ghost version of Studio 54. It's like, I don't know, undead Coke? Something like that. But anyway, this is what makes this so special. All 3 suggestions got an equal amount of votes. Incredibly, that means we have a 3-way tie. This has never happened before in the albeit brief history of Tell Me Where I'm Going. I had no contingencies planned for this to happen. I thought there was always going to be a definitive choice selected, and if there was a tie, I thought in the back of my head maybe it would only be 2. But no, this is a 3-way tie. A 3-way tie. This is very exciting. And quite frankly, terrifying. I have no idea what to do with this. How can I make sense of these 3 things? What do we actually do? And I'll tell you what we're going to do. All 3 won fair and square, so all 3 are being written into the story. That's a 3-way tie. It's a 3-way tie. That's how the cookie crumbles. So the scary part now, and the part I'm really kicking myself about, is that now I have to figure out a way to make prehistoric caves and Martin Scorsese's basement and the ghost of Studio 54 somehow all one place. And that's the place that the girls find themselves in. This is, guys, I can't, I started this podcast because, I'm a brilliant author, but I need help figuring out what happens to my characters. I run out of ideas, and it's been a challenge, but it's been great. But this is the biggest challenge yet. This is getting weird. We're going to outer space right now. I'm gonna have to work through this one. We gotta put our feet on the ground here. Gotta figure out how all these 3 things intersect. What kind of crazy place is this? Martin Scorsese's prehistoric basement former club, still ghost club thing? Anyway, I gotta work this out. But you get to reap the rewards. I'm gonna keep writing my brains out and trying to figure out what this is even. So stay tuned and check in next week on Friday for the next chapter of the story. And yeah, we're all gonna find out what place this is and how this changes the story. What happens to So, all right. Stay classy, everyone. You've been listening to Tell Me Where I'm Going, part of the Let's Hear It network. To learn more, visit letshearit.network.